Welcome to the EA Coach. I am your executive service professional. I am Kaila, New York. I am going to talk today about being the assistant, not being a assistant, but being the assistant. Everybody in your company, your agency has an assistant that's the assistant. And sometimes it's not the top assistant. It's the assistant that makes you go, damn, she or he's on their game, because it's not gender specific. So it's like she or he is on their game. Things don't get past them. They're like the ultimate goalie, right? In order to go towards that, there's a lot of things that you need to understand, and there's a lot of things that you need to learn. One of the main things that you need to learn as an assistant is that the schedule belongs to you. Does that make sense? I wasn't always a good assistant. Let me help you. I wasn't always a good assistant. I didn't always know what I was supposed to do because there was like how I'm training you now, and there are different people that's training you how to do it. No one trained me how to do it. They just kind of threw me in the role. And I was just like, okay, it just so happens that I was my father's first assistant. So I kind of knew how to take care of people and how to like answer phones and all that. And so it was so weird because when I was younger, I couldn't answer the phone like, who this? My mother, I did it once. My mother was like, that is not how you answer the phone. And she literally taught me how to answer the phone. Who knew? But I digress. I was not always a good assistant. I wasn't. I I dropped balls. I didn't do scheduling properly. But all that happened, I believe, because it was gonna get me where I am now, helping you guys. You know, I most of the time when you do things wrong and you learn from what you do wrong and you figure out what you're supposed to do, you grow from it. And then you can help and bring other people along with you, right? So, being an assistant in the beginning was challenging and not rewarding because I did not understand like my role. I didn't understand. I thought it was like a role that nobody really cared about, nobody really paid attention to. And it wasn't until I had a trainer, I talk about her all the time. I had a trainer who made me see it differently. And once I saw it differently, I behaved in the role differently. I took initiative. I took command of the role. I didn't just sit there in the role. So I think this is what that video is talking about. I don't want you just to sit in the role of assistant. You can do whatever you want. Just bear in mind, you can do whatever you want. But if you want to be that assistant that your boss is like, I'm going to this company. Do you want to come with me? And being an assistant, you can jump off to anything that you want to. Me, I just jumped off to my own company, building my own company because I built someone else's. I've built multiple companies, I've organized multiple companies. So for me, the only other thing that made sense to me was building my own company and building my own brand, especially my last job before well, my last company before the Department of Finance was Black Enterprise Magazine. So at Black Enterprise Magazine, I learned how to be an entrepreneur. You understand? So I was around it. I was surrounded by them. And I was surrounded by dynamic people that knew the ins and outs on marketing and selling and design and graphics and all this other stuff. So it was just the route that I went. But you can jump off from an assistant to chief of staff to other things. You don't have to stay here. But if you want to stay here and you want to make it a career, you can be an executive service professional. And those are, I call the cream of the crop. Those are the people that you can tell that they know what they're doing. There's a meeting that needs to be scheduled, stuff is scheduled. For people who are not EAs or have no idea what I'm talking about, this can apply to anything. But I'm in this video, I'm talking to executive service professionals, executive assistants, EAs, admins. Those are the people that I'm talking about because I want you to understand how important your role is, even if the people around you don't realize it. Because I know a lot of assistants that, me included, that used to be like, people don't realize you're there until something's broken. When something breaks or something's not there or there's no supplies or you can't get in the conference room or you can't join a Teams meeting, our stuff is trivial. It seems trivial and unimportant, but it really is not. It really, and that's something that I learned over the years. It really is not. If no admins are in the office, they and no one covered it up or tweaked it. I'll tell you, for instance, one day everybody was out the office. All my admins were out of the office, right? And me included, because I had Jaden's graduation. I had to make sure all the meetings were moved to Teams so that no one had to answer the door. Then I had to make sure that everybody, all the executives in the office were aware that there were not going to be any admins. So if the door rings with a customer, they're going to have to answer it. You know, and I made sure that the phone was forwarded to the assistant that was working remotely. Does that make sense? So it's like there's a lot of moving parts. I didn't just be like, oh, the admins are out of the office, so have at it, and everything just goes crazy. Now, if I wanted them to understand how important we were, I wouldn't have did any of that. I would have just let it go. But that's not who we are. I made parameters and things in place so that they only felt a little bit of the disruption. It wasn't too much of a disruption, right? That tells you how important we are to the workflow and how things operate and how things move within our department. And that's an executive department, that's an executive office. I'm training you how to work in an executive office. I'm training you how to get the job. I'm training you how to work in the office. And we have interviews this week, so I'm probably going to be popping on here telling you do's and don'ts with interviewing because of stuff that I see. So I'm like, which direction I want to go? But you want to be that assistant. You want to be the assistant that gets paid top dollar, because it ranges from like 16,000 to six figures. Do you understand? So you can make six figures as an assistant. You just have to be worth the price. Every assistant has a price tag. Do you understand? And like I said, if you don't want to be an assistant anymore, move with that person or move around and then jump off. But people more people know me as the assistant than people who are directors or like different types of middle management stuff, because I have my hand in everything. My name is everywhere. Granted, there's times that I go to an event and they're like, oh, you're Keisha Grant. I'm like, yes, I'm Keisha Grant. Like, oh, you're Keisha. I'm like, yes, I'm Keisha. So people know you, but you have to be of a certain caliber. You don't want to be known as, oh, you're that assistant. Granted, don't get it twisted. I'm known as that assistant for different reasons too, because I command my position. I command my commissioner's calendar. It varies from commissioner, but I command the calendar. And I know that if he has something going on and he walks out and I'm just like, okay, I don't know where he's going, I know that I need to be mindful of where he is and when he gets back. So I might have to move a meeting. It's not something that he has to come back and be like, oh, Keisha, can you move a meeting? That's not a dynamic assistant. A dynamic assistant can see that you need to move a meeting. And if you see that he's not back 2 minutes before the meeting, text him or text her and be like, hey, Are you going to make this meeting or should I move it? That shows them that you're paying attention, right? Now, another thing, if you know your executive tells you I'm going over here and I have a virtual meeting that I'm supposed to be back to in my office at a certain time, and they leave like a half hour before that meeting to go over to a place or whatever, it is your responsibility to contact that person who's organizing the meeting that they're supposed to be in after that, that they might be late, or especially if they're already over in a place where the meetings the meeting is taking place. Does that make sense? Say that the meeting's taking place in my office, right, at 11:30. If your boss leaves your office at like 11 o'clock talking about they're going over to my office for a different meeting, you need to notify the person over there in my office, hey, they're over there, so I don't know, I do not believe that they're going to come back at a certain time, so that notifies us that we're going to have to scramble. One thing most assistants are good at is scrambling, but it pisses us off. It pisses us off because we scheduled it properly. We schedule it so it can run smoothly. We don't like when stuff goes wonky. So when you give someone a heads up, hey, this might mess up, they're grateful for it. And if you don't, they're going to be pissed off at you. So it is your job as the assistant to keep track of what's going on and pay attention. You're not there to file your nails and look pretty. You're there to actually do work. All right. I love you guys. I'm going to make more videos on executive assistants or executive service professionals. Stay blessed. Deuces. And we out. If you have any questions, let me know.